Well, for the fledgling Never Trump movement, these are dark days indeed. And while there are a whole bunch of reasons the movement has struggled for traction, a huge part of the problem appears to be the person the Never Trump forces have had no choice but to rally around. The man widely seen as the most hated person in Washington, D.C., Ted Cruz. At an appearance at Stanford University yesterday, former House Speaker John Boehner expressed his disdain for the Texas senator in remarkably stark terms.
How about Ted Cruz? Lucifer in the flesh. I've never worked with a more miserable self-efficient. Over my dead body will be resting.
That last part didn't seem to be a joke, even though people did laugh. In Fort Wayne, Indiana today, Cruz hit back.
He said something like, he's the worst SOB I've ever worked with, something like that.
Lucifer in the flesh.
Well, there was that too. But the interesting thing is, he said that I've ever worked with. I've never worked with John Boehner. Truth of the matter is, I don't know the man. When John Boehner calls me Lucifer, he's not directing that at me. He's directing that at you. What Boehner is angry with me for is not anything I've ever said to him. I haven't said much of anything to him. What Boehner is angry with me for is standing with the American people.
So the part about how Ted Cruz doesn't know John Boehner, that's somewhat odd, since John Boehner once hired Ted Cruz to be his lawyer. Cruz campaign today claimed the two had little interaction, apparently while one was representing the other. But Boehner is far, far, far from the first person to speak less than kindly about Ted Cruz.
I fully agree with John Boehner, and maybe he gives Lucifer a bad name by comparing him to Ted Cruz. I hate Ted Cruz, and I think I'll take cyanide if he ever got the nomination.
If you killed Ted Cruz on the floor of the Senate, and the trial was in the Senate, nobody could convict you.
President George W. Bush apparently not a big fan of Senator Ted Cruz. He was overheard saying, "I just don't like the guy."
There are a lot of good candidates. I like nearly all of them.
Nobody likes him. Nobody in Congress likes him. Nobody likes him anywhere once they get to know him.
Ted Cruz was my roommate. I did not like him at all in college. I want to be clear because Ted Cruz is a nightmare of a human being. I have plenty of problems with his politics, but truthfully, his personality is so awful that 99% of why I hate him is just his personality.
What's it like to be the most hated man in America?
Well, Megan, it's great to be with you.
Joining me now, Republican Congressman from Pennsylvania, Charlie Dent, who has endorsed John Kasich